purchased books this year. I did tell myself it was a 1 in 1 out policy. Have we abided? No. We'll get to that in a second. First of all, hello, my name is Meekela. This is Meekela Reads. I live here. The books in this video will come to you in 4 parts. The first is the books that I physically have in my hands. I can touch the covers, I can smell the pages. Second is the books that I have already completed this year and have spoken about ad nauseum. So we will not speak too deeply about those because we have many books to talk about today. 3, the books I acquired amongst a little library book shopping video that I will leave linked here somewhere so you can watch it if you want to hear more about it, but we still see them, we just won't talk about them. And 4th is the books that I have pre-ordered. I do not physically have them. There is only 2 of them, but they're a category in and of themselves. I'm missing books. No, I'm not. Never mind. Also, I will acknowledge that we are dark today. It is dark outside. It is dark right now. It is nighttime because daylight savings has ended and I don't see daylight anymore. Anywho, let's talk about the books because there's like 22 of them and we've got limited time to get through it. First up, excuse you. Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I'm reading this currently and I am confused. I'm 82 pages in. I do not know what is happening. There are too many people for me to count or keep track of. This is Samantha Shannon's fantasy series. We are following 2 sides of a place. We have the East and the West. They're 2 different storylines. There's politics, there's dragons, there's queens. There's a sapphic romance that I am hoping saves the book for me because I'm confused and I don't know what's happening. And I don't know if I'm having a good time because it feels like I'm studying for a history lesson right now. Next, let's just continue on with the books that I'm currently reading. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is by Heather Fawcett, and as the title indicates, we follow Emily Wilde, who is writing an encyclopedia of fairies. This is a cozy fantasy. We're set in an isolated, ice-ridden small town, and I believe it is Emily Wilde's last stop before she completes her dissertation that she's been writing for 10 years about fairies. This little town does not like her. She does not like speaking to people all that much. She doesn't see a lot of point in it, cannot connect with people all that much, and much prefers to just be in the forest, leaving offerings for fairies, communing with the folk, all of that jazz. I'm halfway through. I'm slowly making my way there. I started reading this in a cozy fantasy video. You can go watch it if you want more of my thoughts. I have many already. If I Never Met You by Mary McFarlane. I'm reading this for my workbook club. I've kind of already spoken about it a little bit, but it is a fake dating, office-based romance book. We start the book, our main character has just broken up with her very long-term boyfriend. It is rough, it is not a good time for her. Everyone else in the book club has finished this, and I have read 5 pages. And I have a deadline to read this by the 27th of April, so this is high on my priority list. I need to make some progress, I need to get through it. And the last of the 5 books that I'm currently reading, Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. This is the sequel to Brandon Sanderson's sci-fi that I read from January to March this year. In true Meekela fashion, we read the first quarter of Skyward from January to March, and then we read the remainder of the book within 48 hours. Immediately went out and bought the second one, have read 1 chapter, and have not touched it in 3 weeks. In the first book of this series, we're following Spencer. She is training to be a pilot to protect the human race that are on this deserted alien planet from the aliens that are attacking the planet. I really enjoyed the first one. I'm just stuck on the same roadblock that I hit with the first one. And also, I'm reading 5 books right now. There's too much happening in my brain. Moving on, Love Sugar Magic by Anna Mariano. This is a middle grade cozy fantasy, supposedly. I purchased this to read as a part of the cozy fantasy video that I did, but I didn't quite get to this one within that video. But this is, as I said, a middle grade fantasy. We're following Leonor and her family. They have a bakery and they are preparing for the Dia de los Muertos festival. However, she does find out that the women in her family are actually brujas, who are actually witches of Mexican ancestry. I assume that most middle grades have a cozy element, a general, generic, low stakes feel to them, so I can assume that this is a cozy fantasy, but we'll get there. Part 3, coming soon. Next, Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Yet another ice skating romance. Are we surprised? We follow Anastasia, who is a figure skater, and then also Nathan, who is a hockey player. Anna's skating partner has fallen ill or injured himself, and Nathan has to come in and fill the space of Anastasia's skating partner. So he becomes a figure skater also. I believe this is giving enemies to lovers vibes. It's giving hate to love, forced proximity, all of the good juicy things. I love ice skating. I love romances. This is perfect. Next. Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion. First of all, can someone tell me if my copy is faulty because the foiling does not match the embossing on the front cover? This is the sequel to Legendborn by Tracy Dion, which I read in 2021 and loved. It was a 5-star, it was so much fun. However, I have the memory of a sieve, so I do not remember exactly what happened in the book. I am that meme, the let's normalize not remembering the plots of our favorite books. From what I remember, we're following our main character Bree. She goes to a private academy. However, she witnesses a magical attack on the first night of her being there, and the magic system is roughly based in King Arthur's legends with the Knights of the Round Table. This is the sequel to that. I will need to reread Legendborn before I read this, but it is one that I have highly anticipated for quite some time because I did really enjoy Legendborn. It was one of my first like re-forays back into kind of that young adult fantasy realm. And then Kiss Her Once For Me by Alison Cockram. This circulated the internet in December of 2022 and we have purchased it in February of 2023. We are late. We are always late. There's nothing new about this here on this here small corner of the internet. This is a holiday-based second chance romance slash fake dating romance trope. Our main character meets someone, has a little bit of a fall in love towards the holidays, and then splits, and then comes back, ends up in a fake dating, but then apparently his sister ends up being the person that she met and had that little fling slash chemistry with, and she has to choose if she wants to be in her fake romance or her second chance romance. I think that's what happens. This was very popular. I missed it. I missed out on the Christmas feels, and now I just need to figure out if I'm gonna read it either at Christmas time this year, which is in December, where in the Southern Hemisphere it is hot, or if I read it in winter, which is pretty much now, where the vibes are quite similar and I can get all of the cozy wintry feels. Vote in the comments. Undoctored. This is another Adam Kay. I read his other book, This Is Going to Hurt, in 2020 and loved it. I thought it was amazing when I read it in 2020. I think I read it within the span of 24 hours. So when I saw that this was on sale for like $9, had to pick it up. However, I actually believe that Undoctored is a follow-up to This Is Going to Hurt and follows Adam Kay's journey after he left the medical system and after he worked on the front lines of the NHS, because I'm 90% sure that that was quite traumatic. It says, it's about opening old wounds and examining the present day scars. It's about blowing up your life and stitching it back together. It's about 300 pages long. I'm excited. Should be good. Bunny by Mona Awad. This is a very popular book on the internet right now. Everyone that I know has read it has really enjoyed it. I don't think I have heard a bad review for this book. And it was my birthday, so I bought myself a book. We follow Samantha. She's attending Warren University. She really does not like the like rich girls, the popular girls in her class, because they all call each other Bunny. However, that is before she gets sucked into their world and ends up being influenced and drawn into their ritualistic behaviors that end in weird things. I feel like we get some unhinged girly vibes from this. I hear that we get the creepy fever dream vibes, which I haven't had for a while. As I said, it's been highly recommended. We're gonna read it. We'll see what the hype is about. Next, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Baby's first classic that she actually wants to read. But do we know anything about it? Not really. I think we follow a guy, Dorian Gray. He doesn't age, but he also has a painting of him that does age, and I think he's morally grey. But just look at how beautiful this is. Look at it. With the embossed flowers and the gilded edging. Let's not pretend that I didn't pick this up just because of the cover. It was on my list, but it was an impulse purchase for the fact that I wasn't planning on buying it that day, but it was on sale. It is beautiful. It is hands down the most beautiful copy of Dorian Gray that I have seen anywhere. And it was only $15. I had to pick it up. Could you have resisted if it was on your online TBR? I could not have done it. I didn't do it. I bought it. We know this. Okay, concluding this section of the video is possibly my most anticipated, excited book that I have purchased this year, and it is The Moth Keeper by Kay O'Neill. Moths, a graphic novel about people who keep moths. Is there not a more perfect graphic novel that you have seen? Look at it, look at it, look at it. This was written by the author who wrote The Tea Dragon Society, which I have not read. It has been in my online TBR for over a year at this point. But I just know, I know that I'm going to love it. And then when I heard she was writing a book about moths, I hit complete order before my brain even registered we were at the computer. It says, being the moth keeper is a great honor. Being the moth keeper is a great responsibility, but is it worth the cost? I like moths more than I like most people. and I love graphic novels. Am I predicting a new favorite? Watch this space. I haven't even looked at the pictures yet. I've been avoiding it for so long because I just want to go in completely blind. Oh my god. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Look at it. Okay, moving on to the books that you know about already. I've already spoken about these in this video. Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, Zen the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, The Restaurant at the End of the World, The City of Mirrors, The Binding, and House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. We've already talked about them. We know they're there. What section are we in? Are we in section 3? Section 3, the books that I have already read. Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sengu Mandana. This is a cozy fantasy. We're following Mika Moon. She is a witch. She is in the modern day present society. She's 31 years old and she basically has to make a choice between following the rules of her secret society of witches or if she accepts the request to help a group of 3 other young witches who need help managing their powers, and then also helping 2 married old men and helping the hot librarian of this household. I've already spoken at it ad nauseum. Very good. Highly recommend as a cozy fantasy. But I did it. I read a book that I bought. Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. We listened to it. It is the 3rd book in the Last Hours trilogy by Cassandra Clare, a Shadowhunters book set in the 1800s. And finally, the last book. That time I got drunk and saved a demon. We already know my thoughts. This is an adventure romance book. This is not a cozy fantasy, in my opinion. It follows Cinnamon. She, as the title indicates, gets drunk and saves a demon. However, she is also then asked to go on an adventure with the demon, following him attacking her at her family's spice farm. Okay. Last category, we have the books that I've pre-ordered. There's only 2 of them. They're of the same series. I pre-ordered the special editions of Crescent City and House of Sky and Breath. House of Earth and Blood and House of Sky and Breath. These 2. Special editions of these 2 books that I already own. Is the series complete enough for me to be buying special editions of only the first 2 books? Negative. Did I do it anyway? Yes. Also, they're not due to turn up until September. And knowing me living in the Southern Hemisphere, in literally the bottom of the world, they may not turn up till October. Who knows? I'm sure you know the absolute vice hold that Sarah J Maas currently has on the book community. Crescent City is her 3rd series. Personally, they're my favorite series. I definitely much prefer her writing in these ones than the other ones. I do acknowledge that these books obviously have their flaws in terms of pacing and everything. I will acknowledge that there are just glaring issues with Sarah J Maas's writing and her lack of diversity within her writing and her somewhat questionable management of deviant relationships within her works. I do think that she has improved over time, and I am going to sit in the space of giving her the benefit of the doubt in hoping that that continues to develop as she continues to write, because I do enjoy the stories, but the jury is still out. So watch this space. But I did buy some special edition books because they're beautiful. I like aesthetic things sometimes. This was one of those times. And that is it. These plus 2 are all of the books that I have purchased this year when I said I wasn't buying as many books as I normally do. I really didn't put them in a good place. Let's move them back over here. We are going to make a conscious effort for the remainder, at least of the next couple of months, to be more mindful of the books that I'm buying, just to work through some of these. And then also the other 70 or so books that I own and haven't read yet. And also just to give my wallet a break. But I do know myself, and I know that anytime I even utter the words book buying ban, switch flips in my brain and my online TBR like doubles in size. We're just going to exercise some restraint. We're not going to put any limits on because it never ends well. It was my birthday last week. I have a gift card burning a hole in my pocket. There are new releases coming out that I want to purchase, that I want to read. And also the book depository is closing, and so I need to finalize the stuff that I get on the book depository that I can't get on other places or from other places, because living in the Southern Hemisphere, shipping is expensive, and the book depository had free shipping, and I'm sad. I'm so sad. That's more book buying that we might do. But again, exercising restraint, not putting any bans on because we know ourselves. But that is all. That's all I have to talk about these here books here. Anywho, thank you guys so much for watching this video with me here today, talking about these here books. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're having a fantastic day or night or whatever time it is where you are in the world, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.